Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another exciting Propagandacast with me, host Imperial Dane, Master of Propaganda, Reich, Defender of the Fatherland. A 2 versus 2 to you on, oh bloody hell, Minsk Pocket. Yes, indeed, I just briefly forgot the name of the map. Absolutely a dashing start. We shall be watching Groc and Pagin, or Pagos Ignis, fighting for the Soviet Union for the 3rd Guards Armored Mechanized Corps. Opposing them shall be Crazyalpha and Baumgruppe, fighting for Deutschland for the Großdeutschland Panzer Grenadier Division, one of the few Panzer Grenadier divisions to actually, well, probably the only, to be better equipped than most Panzer divisions. Lots of conscripts popping out there for the Soviets, heading up north. This is also going to be a long match, so mid-game analysis will be skipped. And I'll probably try and speed things up here and there as well, where things later on might be a bit slow, simply, you know, to keep things a bit within all reason, since this can also end up being a bit exhausting, you know, casting for about an hour or more. Such things should also be kept in consideration, or at least I'd like to. So it's spreading out nicely, although at the same time we are seeing both are coordinating their conscript squads in the start here, pushing up the center, so clearly the Soviet army is preparing to push the fascists from the center. Grenadiers and MG42s here appearing, and quickly following up here for Baumgruppe, a mortar, whereas looks like Crazyalpha is, for the time being, sticking to the Grenadiers. MD42 set up to cover the fuel point. Grenadiers advancing to much support the pioneers. Other conscript squad a bit slow, having had a bit too much vodka the night before. There go MD42 packing up. More German forces advancing. A 3rd squad of Grenadiers on the way for Crazyalpha. Also noting a rather quick support weapon company for Pagos Ignis with Groconus, we'll just call him Groc, going for several conscripts for the time being, so that's clearly going to mean that Pagos Ignis will be providing light support, though clearly he did go for some infantry initially on, so that's always something. Trying to row up here, running into a bit of a problem, getting flanked, getting mortared. Groc trying to do what he can at the front line. Conscripts here for Pagos Ignis need to be careful. Going to cut right in front of the MD42, though they did manage to push away the mortar, and there we go, conscripts on the retreat. Other conscript squads dealing with the Grenadiers, they have been too occupied with Pagos Ignis. Nice coordination there. And there we go, the Grenadiers are absolutely brutalized by a wave of Molotovs, leaving behind only the MD42 to keep the front line up. But we are seeing more Grenadiers rushing in. Now also some from Baumgruppe, besides a mortar and an MG42.
Grenadiers ready.
Trees getting shattered by stray mortar rounds. Right hand side largely Soviet, although a bit more could be taken for some of the victory points. So far they have been largely ignored except the center one. And some pioneers on the left flank are not having a fun day. Groc trying to set up a defensive position here, but instead getting already attacked. And a mortar arriving. Pagos Ignis with this 82mm mortar. Mortar rounds continue to rain down like high explosive raindrops, which would certainly bring a different meaning to singing in the rain, if that was ever to pass in actuality. Soviet mortar though now letting loose on the fascist positions. Right hand side could see a bit more action. Lots of combat units there, pressuring up the flanks as well. Most of the German forces are being drawn into the center, allowing the Soviets to make good progress there. Although we do now see Baumgruppe making some progress there, trying to draw perhaps Soviets away from the center as well. Looks like a Maximus following up there. Mortar rounds continue to rain. So far the Soviet mortar is having about as much luck hitting as the German one, which pretty much means nothing at all. Oh, never mind. The German mortar actually managed to kill some poor bastard. The exchange of mortar rounds continues like a poorly planned Christmas party Things are flying in different ways, yet never quite reaching their intended targets. Although it looks like a conscript squad here is very close to extermination, but succeeds in escaping the grasp of the Wehrmacht. Maxim's moving up. And taking up going on here. Crazyalpha ready to perhaps have a like the mechanized company, that is what he desires. And there we go, Maxim letting loose, but getting rifle grenaded. Crazyalpha unleashing a torrent of them. And aggressively played MG40 here from Alpha pushes away a squad of conscripts with glory. Popping out to Baumgruppe, who's doing what I can as well. His pioneers actually winning a fight versus these combat engineers who seem to have been forgotten a bit by Pagos Ignis. The rifles having a bit of a problem with this submachine gun fire being directed against him. The MP40s, also known as a Schmeiser, by the Western Allies. And there we go, the combat engineer squad suffered a less than happy fate. So far, in fact, the Soviets are actually dominating most of the map. And what is this? There we go, actually watching here Pagos Ignis use merge to ensure they can keep his Maxim at the front line without having to retreat. Well done. And we're seeing smoke going down. Are they actually applying smoke here? Looks like it's the Soviets, in fact, who are laying down smoke here. Mine. God. Lovely to see that. Definitely certainly the hallmarks of higher skilled players. Certainly not novices, so well done in that regard. And a mechanized armor company going up for Pagos Ignis. Whereas it looks like so far that Groc will be providing most of the raw infantry power, at least for the time being. Also, noting that something I'm perhaps not quite as comfortable with is though he's actually fighting on both flanks, which of course means he has to manage two separate parts of the battlefield, which could lead to some problems if he's not careful. MG42 here, getting outflanked by a combat engineer squad. Of course, Groc knows what's there. He's not going to rush the conscripts up until the MG42 crew here takes the bait or does something else. Mittlere Schützenpanzerwagen going to be a Flammpanzerwagen. Maxim holding up the front line, mortars continue to blasting away. Nothing that can actually stop a flame for a half-tech, although we do see a field gun moving up. And there we go, Flammpanzerwagen bereit. Combat is getting pushed away by a Grenadier squad coming to the rescue of the MG crew. And there we go, the Flammpanzerwagen is on the move. Field gun not quite within range to actually protect. And there we go, the Maxim gets cleared out. Field gun advancing just as the half-tech moves up. This is bad news. Now the Panzerwagen has a chance of actually flanking the field gun. This is bad news for Groc, who's then himself actually gone for support weapon Campanea. I might have expected a special rifle command, perhaps in some penal troops to support things, or perhaps a sniper or a scout car. But instead he's going to be providing some field guns for the time being. Conscripts here getting outnumbered by Grenadiers. Left flank has collapsed. Right flank though continues to see plenty of pressure and looks like an attempt to flank here, but instead they're going to run into a bit of a problem with an MG42 Grenadiers. And there we go, the Flammpanzerwagen. Now the Soviets are the ones that are on the back foot, although it looks like the field gun did escape the incendiary grasp of the half-track. There we go, Crazyalpha also getting a half-track of his own. Conscripts doing what they can. Lots of field guns up. Groc going for several on that, and we're seeing Pagos Ignis with a Su-76 assault gun, which likely means there's going to be lots of artillery, lots of explosions. And there we go. A swift barrage threatening to tear everything asunder. Though so far only the foliage. And there go flame for half-tech flanking in. Everything is not pointing in the right direction. A nasty move there by Baumgruppe. Oh, Baumgruppe, you bastard. Although he doesn't dig around, of course, realizing this is a bad position, he unless manages to draw the attention and cause a bit of consternation. MG, though, still not covered, and bunkers being set up here at the front line to cover up this area of the part, allowing the German track to pull back and focus on the rest of the map. Good move, although of course as soon as any armor arrives this could quickly go down. Tankowy Battalion command for Groc, and popping over to Pagin Ignis, who has gone for the Soviet shock mechanized doctrine, I believe it was. The name is slightly not quite there, but we are seeing shock troops. And also noting Pagin Ignis is incredibly low in units. And there we go, machine gun bunker keeping everything up, but drawing in the attention here, so they're allowing the field gun to open up on the bunker. And the SS-76 needs to be careful. There might be fascist anti-tank position, but so far not at all. We're noting a second Flampanzerwagen up, and we're noting this one is going straight for the jugular on the field gun, burning away at the crew, sending them stuck to the shield of the gun. It looks like though it managed to survive. The conscript might try and move in with an anti-tank grenade sorted out. Pressure continues up the centre. Sniper there, and certainly the sniper's going to have a good job here with the shock troopers. Those are going to be very valuable targets. Mortar getting recruited here by Pagin Ignis. This is bombarding machine gun positions. And there we go, anti-tank grenade on the Flampanzerwagen. A bit in a rubbish position now. Oh, SS-76 got the machine gun, but it is going to need some repairs. And of course, if he had some conscripts ready, he could repair quickly due to the fact that he now has conscript repair kit available. Instead, we're seeing a second squad of shock troopers. Looks like the Soviet hammer is being laid down, and a T-70 light tank arriving at the same time. Panzerwagen over here went down in a smouldering wreckage. Currently the Soviets are rather not really in control of the map. They've lost pretty much most of it. They need to strike back, and we are seeing a T-70 light tank looking to be doing a bit of that. Crazyalpha with a Pack 40 infantry marching out. And there we go, shock troopers versus grenadiers. This is pretty much going to be straightforward, since the grenadiers are not upgraded at all, and they have nothing to support them. Shock troopers making rather short work of them, barely taking any damage in the process. And there we go, almost wiped out in fact.
Shock troops can now be used to crush the enemy.
But the mortar has been lost again. And the SS-76 has been actually being moved forward despite not having been repaired. That's a bad idea, I would say, particularly considering this engine damage, which rather means it's really is going to be absolutely not survivable in any kind of combat where it might actually be in danger. So that's a rather big problem I think Pagin Ignis should try and sort out. Bunker has collapsed. Pack and some grenadiers holding up the left flank. Also noting several fuel caches and munitions caches. Clearly they've been expending a lot of resources towards that. Conscripts marching up the centre. Might try and get close to that pack, but no. Instead goes off the grenadiers. And there we go. SS-76 firing in support of the conscripts advance. In the meanwhile, Panther 4 has arrived for Baumgruppe, unleashing high explosive shells and machine gun bullets into the stomachs of the Bolsheviks. Flamethrower doing what he can. SS-76 still not seeing any repairs. Come on, have the conscripts do it, comrade. And the mortars recruit again. And another T-70 arrives here for Groc. Looks like he's also putting the other one away. Sniper moving up, jumping from cover to cover, spotting up for the Pack 40. Splendid work. Except the Pack 40 can't shoot for all the trees. And there we go, SS-76 now in a dangerous position, needs to pull back. Or have the mortar pop smoke, and there we go, it actually does it, but not in front of the SS-76, which rather means it's, well, the Pack 40 is just going to move up slightly, and then that's it. So sadly this SS-76 is going to go down, tragically so. And there we go. That was a bit of a waste there by Pagin Ignis. Popping over to Groc, has gone for the armoured assault doctrine. Radio intercept ready. T-34s, medium tanks and repairs soon available, and later on is going to be heavy tanks and a Sturmovik attack. Ooh, Flampanzerwagen here in trouble on the left flank with the T-70 light tank. Center largely German. 2 MG42s covering up things there. An SU-85 arriving for Pagos Ignis. Right flank being supported heavily now by its field guns. And another T-70. And there we go, gunners moving for the T-70. The T-70 is clearly not afraid of the Panzerfaust. Just blasting away. And gaining veterancy 1. And looks like the entire front line here in the centre is being rolled up by the shock troopers. And a veterancy 2 mortar, which could very soon be in a rather perilous situation. The shock troopers are getting close. Needs to get out of there. Pack 40 is being pulled back. Left flank of the Germans is also in disarray. In fact, the T-70 could quickly roll up and clear up these fuel caches if only he knew. Rather seems like Soviets are a bit passive, not perhaps pushing as much as they could. Fuel cache though is going up, splendid. And another field gun, Groc, clearly being very fond of his field guns. And there we go, the Pack 40 in trouble. And this one needs to get out of there before the Panzer IV sends it to the big tank battlefield in the sky. And looks like we're seeing some, it's smart vehicles, well, it's track vehicles, which allows, of course, his infantry to actually keep an idea of where the enemy vehicles might be on the minimap. Flamethrower Pioneer is trying to flank the field guns, but instead takes a stomach full of fire from the T-70 and Panther IV here. Baumgruppe being a bit too excited. He's going to lose that Panther IV, but not before it gets a T-70 light tank. And the Stug has arrived, a Sturmgeschütz. Lovely. Another SU-76. And looks like Pagos Ignis is intent on causing a bit of havoc on the right flank, while Groc dispatches a conscript to roll things up there.
What do you need? Taking fire! Well done, comrades. The point is
And another SU-76 with a damaged engine, that's bad news. Stuka quickly rolling ahead. Panther Grenadiers, MG42 in support. SU-85 needs to be careful, he doesn't get flanked right here. That could be a bad moment. And a set of very bad memories. There we go, combat is now getting blasted with what Baumgruppe can offer. Fighting in the left. A Panther arrives, that means a heavy Panzer co-op for Crazyalpha. Panzerkampfwagen 5. Wunderbar. And grenades here being slopped at the Russians.
enemy fire! We're under attack!
Stug here needs to be careful, there's a lot of field guns, although one of them has been cleared up by mortar, and there we go, shot connects. In the meanwhile, the fighting in the centre continues. Shock troops are running into a bit of a problem. Panther arriving, and another SU-6 looks to be going down unless the shock troopers manage to pull it through. Looks like they might, in fact. There's submachine guns tearing through the crew, but no. SU-76 is lost. SU-85 with a damaged engine allowing the Panther to flank. Come on, Crazyalpha, schnell. Area reconnaissance moving in as well. In the meanwhile, the Stug continues over here on the right flank. Needs to get out of there. This is not really working out for it. This duel with the field gun was a pretty bad idea. And what is this? A Stuka bombing drop, and there we go, the field gun gets blasted, the Luftwaffe to the rescue. And a pack desperately crewed by shock troopers is causing this Panther a bit of trouble. Bad news. Oh, there we go, rear hit. Veterans one already for the newly recruited pack. And there we go, another hit. This is bad news for the Panther, really bad news. But he manages to escape. And the German front line is now currently in complete disarray. This would be a good time for the Soviets to push forward as much as possible, recruit as much as possible, mine as much as possible, basically make it as difficult as possible for the Germans to lead a counterattack for the Groß Deutschland to regain territory. Popping over to Crazyalpha again, who's gone for Jaeger armor.
Ready for orders.
Got several Panzer escorts and Grenadier escorts.
Ready for assignment.
And there we go, conscript supported by heavy machine gun crew. Bad news for the left flank. Right flank also crumbling under the presence of a lot of shock troopers and lots of grenades being exchanged right here. Neither seem to have done an awful lot to the other guys. Rifle grenade on the other hand did the trick. Stug rolling up there for Baumgruppe with a second Stug still in need of repairs. At least it didn't get blown up. And there we go, fuel caches going down to rather determined Soviet fire. Quick counterattack from some Grenadiers dispatched by Crazyalpha so that they can keep the fuel for their panzers.
What do you need? Taking rounds!
Looks like they're going to flank the MG42, a wise decision. Or in this case, rifle grenaded, also a wise decision. In this case, doesn't do as much as might have been hoped for. Field gun firing barrage, pack cleared out. Another machine gun recruit. Grenadiers going to right in front of it with a light machine gun though. And oh, there we go. Panzer Grenadiers just charge for everything before the Maxim can actually fire up, really. Oh, bad news for Pagin. Ignis suffering heavy losses. The Panzer Grenadiers tear everything up. A well-coordinated assault right there. And the Panther is battle ready. Another issue-76. Good to see, although he does need to work a bit on actually handling them, I think.
80 gun needs orders. The slum bastards are trying to kill us. Ready and waiting.
Shock troopers leading. Whoa, hiccups, the advance. And there we go, the pack goes down, Panzer 4 moves. Oh, Panther moves up, not Panzer 4, bloody hell. Bunker going up, being set up there by Baumgruppe to hold up the front line. It looks like another being set up there. Trying to spare up men for from defensive work. Shock troopers leading the advance, getting cleared out, they're suffering heavily to Stug and Panther. And what is this? A bombing strike. The Sturmovik on the run. Instead blows up a bunch of trees and kills some poor bastard, but ultimately doesn't manage much. And a Grenadier flank assault, leaving the shock troopers at the front line a bit exposed. And there we go, Stug's clearing out the shock troopers, blowing up the pack itself. And a third Sturmgeschütz. And an IS-2 has arrived by the 23-minute mark from Groc. The Josef Stalin 2 tank. Stug down, not entirely sure why he insisted on that sort of frontal assault, but looks like he might get at least one of the Stugs. I mean, SU-85, but needs to get that Stug out of there. No point in wasting a good Stug. IS-2 continues up. Stug needs to keep moving back. Panther has flanked the IS-2, in fact, but might be going for something else. Nope. Going to focus on the IS-2. Field gun might want to focus on the Panther itself, in particular to Veteran 2. Instead, the IS-2 lures it in. And there we go, Veterans 1 now might be a good time to do the Blitzkrieg. Apparently not. Instead, we might see it actually go down. Very close then. Veterans 3 for the Soviet field guns. A Storm Panzer 4's arrived, my god. And we're seeing spotting scopes going up as well, light machine gun. And there we go, IS-2 taking a blasting from the Panther 6, but needs to be careful it doesn't take too much from the IS-2 itself. And air support being called in. Another bombing strike, that's definitely going to be the end of that bunker. Nope. Amazingly enough, perhaps not so well targeted right there. IS-2 though does the job. Oh! Storm Panther 4s. Shot man to stun the crew. Well done. Grenadiers bring up with the Panther fast, but half the squad gets evaporated with one shot from the 122mm gun of the IS-2. Rather high explosive power, meant for dealing with fortifications, blowing up things, keeping things up going. Also a bit to deal with tanks, but that was not really the primary bit. It was rather raw brute force heavy tank. And the raw high explosive damage of the gun can actually do quite some damage to the tanks themselves. And Stuka going down. Machine gun sorted that one out. Stuka's won the count on the right flank. While the Grenadier escort makes it behind all of the field guns, there's been nothing left to support them. And time to have a look at Baumgruppe with his 2 Stuks, but barely any infantry, and both of them are going for Jaeger armor. I'm a bit disappointed in that. I would have liked to have seen some different doctrines from them, so they might have had some more variety and things to do. And using self-repair to repair the IS-2 tank, well done there by Groc. Damaged engine on the Stug, might want to pull it back. Third force moving up, this Stug needs to be careful. Oh dear. This is really bad, although it looks like the field gun's actually getting flanked by the Stugs, getting rifle grenaded even, or perhaps mortared, by the now veterancy-free mortar here by Baumgruppe. Stug doing what he can to escape, the other one also running into problem, and there we go, the field gun actually goes down to fire from the Stugs. But now they really need to get away. The Pioneers are desperately doing what they can to repair it, but there's too many enemy troops around to make it actually work out, plus the MD-42 is pinning down the Pioneers, doing their best to repair the Stug as well. Yet they keep on doing it. Their duty to the fatherland compels them, while the Stug blasts away at the shock troopers. Their body armor doing nothing against high explosive shells. Another anti-tank grenade. Not really sure this is a good idea to keep those Pioneers remaining there. Fighting it in the center. Panther and Sturm Panzer 4 doing what they can. And Stug getting awfully close to veterancy 2. Oh dear, Stug went down. Stug went down. What a shame. And floating a ton of manpower. He might want to do something with that. Perhaps open on some fuel caches or just train some infantry. I mean, he's lacking in it, so, you know, doing something about it would be a pretty good idea. Also, he needs to pull back that Stug. It's down to half health. It's got a damaged engine. Pull it back, repair it, would be my suggestion. Right now, he's just pushing his luck, this Baumgruppe. Mortar, though, is doing quite well with veterancy 3. Oh, Stug close to veterancy 2, and there we go, a veterancy 2 Stug, huzzah! And now it's going to be a wrecked veterancy 2 Stug. Ah, come on. That really could have been done better by Baumgruppe, I would have said. He should have pulled that one back early and repaired it. So I am disappointed in him on that regard. Disappointed, Baumgruppe. Disappointed. Wasting a good Stug like that. Lots of Pioneers being trained now that he's gone. Seems, you know, a bit too late. Of course, it might be to support his panzers. IS-2 already veterancy 1. Quite well handled there by Groc. In fact, some players might have just rushed it in, getting lost. Instead, Groc is actually handling his IS-2 quite well. And of course, the doctrine's chosen certainly also helps with that, since it can have it repair itself at any time if it becomes necessary. But good armor discipline right there, I would say, so far. Looks like he's shifting over to the flank, perhaps hoping to cause some problems for the fascists. Sturmpanzers and Panthers getting repairs. And there we go, IS-2 leading the charge up the right flank. Firing that DHK 12.7mm heavy machine gun into the flank of the Maxim MG42 crew. Doing quite a bit of damage with it, in fact. I mean, it's quite a powerful heavy machine gun. Essentially equivalent to a 50 caliber. And this bunker looks about ready to collapse into a heap of rubble. Shock troopers doing what they can, but they're not quite having success versus the Panther force since they have nothing to deal with it. Plus, of course, all the advancing infantry. But there we go, grenades at all the pioneers and grenadiers and what else you might want to say. And there we go, Veterans who won Storm Panther 4. Shot on one of the retreating shock troopers, and Fedorov goes down. Amazing, impressive. Panther moving up straight into after the IS-2. Needs to be a bit careful though. Storm Panther 4 causing havoc up the center. And an ISU 152 arriving for Pagos Ignis. The Soviet heavy assault gun as well, the heaviest in fact. There was one slightly heavier, or slightly less heavy I mean, ISU 122, which is also more specifically meant for blowing up tanks. This one was a bit more multi-purpose. And an Elephant tank just has arrived for Crazyalpha. Schwerer Panzerjäger. And the Panther continues more or less uninterrupted up the center, perhaps spotting the way, and running straight into the ISU 152 and the field gun. Already down to half health. That was quick, although getting close to Veteran 22, this IS-2 seems a bit passive. He might want to do a bit more with it. Germans doing what they can to hold the front line. A bit of pressure here and there. But also clearly slowly building up for a more armoured punch. And now we're seeing a second multi-whistle all of something, lots of grenadiers and pioneers back. In fact, 4 squads of pioneers. Good lord. Also noting a lot of aerial reconnaissance being used by both of the German players, keeping a constant track of their opponent's movements, which is actually a pretty good usage of it. I certainly shall not fault them for that. There we go, conscript simply getting shattered under the 115 centimeter howitzer mounted on this thing. ISU 152 doing what he can in response. But taking a direct hit there from the Elephant. ISU 152 needs to go down, and another aircraft shut down. Likely by, not by this heavy machine gun, perhaps this one. Probably. And a single conscript squad moving a bit ahead, but quickly getting outnumbered and overwhelmed. Time to have a look at Pagos Ignis again. With his ISU 152, lots of shock troopers. And another IS-2 here for Groc. Shock troopers leading the assault, but they are rather exposed, they're rather clumped up, and they're getting blasted with everything the Germans can muster. Things are looking a bit grim up here, the centre. Another bombing strike going in. Going to see if we can't perhaps hit something here. Getting the mortar crew, but that's about it. IS-2 over here on the west flank, just tearing into the German infantry, causing countless losses. Nasty work, and he's actually splitting them up like that. I think that might not be the best strategy. Or tactic for that matter. I think he rather should try and focus them up to get as much firepower down in one spot. Plus, of course, if one actually stuns the tank, then of course the other one can just keep blasting away while it stuns. I mean, there are definitely some ideas there. Instead, he's playing them up, which rather dilutes the firepower, and of course also allows the Germans to deal with them one at a time if they want to. They can basically isolate one, deal with it. Whereas if they were together, which of course is rather what the Germans are doing with their own armour, they're actually focusing all the heavy armour in one spot, allowing them to lay down as much firepower in one place as possible. And in that sense, the Russians are a bit too much obliging them, I think. I mean, had they focused up the IS-2s up here, roll them up here, I think they could have actually rushed into the flank, perhaps first dealt with the Elephant heavy tank destroyer, firing as many as, you know, heavy shots into it, and then slowly dealing with the Panther and what else. And of course, with the IS-152 firing in support, instead we're seeing nothing quite like that. Shock troopers leading another advance, of course rather expensive for Pagin to run in terms of reinforcement, basically just upkeep, so not necessarily also what I'd call recommendable. IS-2 doing what they can here for Groc. 30 infantry kills. IS-2 is advancing on several flanks with field gun in support on the right. But the centre's not really doing well at all. It's a meat grinder for Pagin and pretty much a shooting gallery for Crazyalpha. Ooh, Pioneer squad almost wiped out there. Panther 4 likely to go down. Hence assault going in, but for this to really work, there also needs to be an IS-2 from up here and the IS-152. Instead, we're only seeing one IS-2 being dispatched in. Bet-22 for the Panther. That's really bad news, although we're not actually seeing any blitzkrieg up from Crazyalpha right here. That would actually be good to quickly flank about and hit the IS-2 in the rear. So a bit disappointed in that. Also looks like here Crazyalpha is taking it carefully, not rushing ahead too far. Apparently a bit of finger spitzgefühl there, telling him there might be something waiting, and it's not going to be cake. IS-2 continues to roll up, defensive position on the west flank, but there's no support for it really. And again, there seems to be a bit of lack of coordination at the moment. Popping over to Groc, who's definitely got the larger force again, because Pagin is just resorting to more elite but also costly units and frontal assaults with perhaps not the most resounding of successes. And that sense, Groc needs to begin pulling its weight a bit more. Actually applies a more serious pressure. He might also want to save up munitions for a Sturmovik attack to support things as well. And the IS-152 shifting over to the right flank. Oh, no, he did. That's the same one. Needs to be careful about it. It's actually too far at the front line. He needs something in front of it. He's trying to use it as a tank. It should be supporting the tanks, not doing the work of them. That's a bit of a bad idea. Germans are continuing up here as well. They could be a bit more aggressive themselves, the Germans, of course. And of course, they could try and punish things more on the west flank, which is now really vulnerable. Again, we have an IS-2 on its own. An elephant support by the Panther could lead an assault here and wipe it out with the proper infantry support, of course. So a bit disappointed in that. But IS-2 here support by the IS-152, providing lots of nasty pressure. Elephant though opening up. Shot managed to fail to penetrate. Nice hit from the IS-152. Tank field gun though needs to move up, and again stop using the IS-152 as a tank. That's not really how it works. And now we do see the IS-2 moving up the west flank, flanking out here an MG42. And very close to Bet-22. And the IS-152 goes out of control and is kaput. Veterans 1 elephant, and this IS-2 needs to get out of there as well. Things are getting a bit grim here. West flank seeing some shock troopers doing excellent work here. I mean, Veterans 2, they really can take on most infantry even in large numbers, even when they're themselves outnumbered. And now 2 Veteran 2, I mean the only chance here might be the Veteran 3 Pioneers, but even then they're going to have trouble with all these shock troopers as well. And there we go, the flamethrower tank bursts it up. And there we go, IS-2 Veteran 2 increasing the damage and even decreasing the damage taken.
An elephant tank destroyer is ready to be deployed.
And another elephant tank destroyer, this time though from Baumgruppe. So 2 elephants, that is definitely bad news for the Soviets. Also a pretty rare sight. I don't think I've ever seen 2 elephants on the field before. So that's definitely quite interesting. Schwerer Panzer Jägerabteilung 653. providing with the biggest guns that can be mustered, and eventually 2 Sturmpanzer 4. Oh, the fun, so many vehicles we haven't seen in some time, and actually seeing them getting some veterancy. Splendid.
You have orders?
And another Panther up for Crazyalpha. Left flank though has completely collapsed the Soviet advance, popping over to Crazyalpha again. I mean, he's actually managed to preserve his armor quite nicely, unlike Baumgruppe, but still. 2 Panthers, an Elephant, and a Sturmpanzer 4. The Groc Deutschland is doing alright. IS-2 rolling up once more. IS-2 also had a rather low reload speed due to the fact that its ammunition was so large it actually being 2 pieces, basically the propellant and the shell itself. So a little fun fact there. In that sense, the IS-2 did have a few weaknesses. And Panthers moving in there, field gun barraging. Panthers moving up, going to flank. Assault going up on the right hand side. The Germans are on the assault. Elephant supporting. IS-2 are getting stunned by the Sturmpanzer 4. But the Sturmpanzer 4 actually goes down rather swiftly in health. And looks like a shock trooper squad here got wiped out. And a mortar crew suffering something similar in terms of fate. Field gun doing what they can here, but taking heavy damage from the Panthers. IS-2 down to half health. Elephant moving up. This is definitely the time to escape. And there we go. Close to death. IS-2 on the right flank. Fighting Grenadiers with a Panzerschreck stolen. More Grenadiers. Looks like some Panzer Grenadiers lost a lot of them, and the Grenadiers have been obliging them. Are picking them up, and there we go. Another Veterans of 3 Grenadiers squad with a Panzerschreck. Also light machine gun by the looks of it. Center seeing heavy fighting. The Panther Veterans who keeps pushing up. This IS-2, I mean, is in dire straits. Outnumbered, outmaneuvered. Field gun getting wiped out. The Soviet defense having some problem there, too spread out. And again, the IS-2s are not really being used the most effectively as they can. Meanwhile, German armor is much more focused. Grenadier squad looks to have been actually wiped out, but no, goes down to the Panzer Grenadiers. Ach du lieber. A rather brutal armoured fight, and certainly a slightly different one from what I'm used to, because there usually tends to be a lot more armour just being wasted, but both sides here generally do their best to keep it moving, to keep it alive. Katyusha down to the Panther, which is now getting close to veterancy free, but now an Su-85 is arriving for Pagos Ignis. Blitzkrieg! Blitzkrieg, mein Herren! Blitz! Ach du lieber! Field gun turning about. Come on, Blitz! Blitz! Elephant firing in support. No, don't lose the veterancy to Panther 9! Looks like it might escape, but again, Blitz! Oh dear. Gute Nacht. Panther is down. Germans are not having it too easy. The Soviets are giving their best, but there are clearly some problems in their tactics. Veterancy 2 IS-2 now moving up the centre. Crazyalpha now the one suffering rather heavy infantry losses. In fact, probably both sides have suffered that. And another Panther 4 for Baumgruppe. Grenadiers making good progress versus a veteran 2, but IS-2 arriving. And another IS-2 arriving for Groc, but will he actually focus them? Again, he seems, a bit too focused on holding ground rather than doing damage, which is rather what the IS-2 excels at, doing damage. There we go, Panzerfaust. That's going to need some repairs. Oh, field gun wasn't quite as well thought out there. Veterans in 3 mortar with 54 kills. Good lord. And there go field gun down. SU-85 up, Panther pulling back in the face of that threat. And this Sturmpanzer continues to wreak havoc while the IS-2 also fights up here. Lots of Panzerjets being lined up against them. Panzer gun is in fact close to going down in a burst of gore and blood. Katyushas continue to rain down the centre, turning into a moon crater, while the IS-2 is doing little. And again, I think that's the problem with Groc, trying to manage both flanks. He's not quite getting as much out of it. He needs to focus up somewhere and basically strike hard, strike home. Instead we're seeing a bit the opposite. Oh, shock troopers went down to a bundle grenade! And those are veteran shock troopers, that's bad news. And now the IS-2s are both advancing up the flanks, but they are separate. And this one's running straight into an elephant. At the same time, Crazyalpha's leading up the charge. The Sturmpanzer 4 with 100mm thick frontal armor leading the way. In fact, it might end up knocking out the SU-85, but no, it looks like it's quick enough to get out of there. Then again, the elephant's also following up, and that's close to veteran 2 as well. Good lord. So much veteran German armor, really well played there by Crazyalpha and actually keeping it alive. And certainly, I mean, this funny thing is also, there hasn't been, severely heavy armor losses on either side. It's not like it's been wasted, it's basically just preservation of both. In that sense, of course, it's also important to remember that you don't get veterans experience from just killing, it's also the doing of damage. I mean, if both tanks keep fighting, getting pulled back, keep moving in, I mean, they're slowly going to become more veteran that way, even without making a single kill. And that's more what we're seeing here. Both players actually largely handling their armor well, although with some mistakes, some tactical errors. And we're actually seeing, Regal mines being used by the half-tracks. My good lord. That's actually quite fun to see.
Eyes on enemy armor. Engaging.
And I think that's good night for another Grenadier squad. Baumgruppe seems fond of the mortars, that's good. But this one's really done its job quite well. It's even knocked out 2 vehicles. Impressive. And another aircraft went down. The Luftwaffe is definitely having some problems with those heavy machine guns. Smoke going down here, acts as cover. Well done, well done. IS-2 doing what they can here. Grenadiers also doing what they can with the Panzerfaust. Though they might soon be dead.
Our lines of supply are disrupted.
I really do think the Soviets need to pull together for one proper armoured assault with as much heavy armour focused in one spot with as much support as well. But the Germans doing alright as they can.
We are ready for action.
Although playing a bit passively, Baumgruppe might want to focus up his armour as well. He's leaving the Panzer IV and basically having it function as a bunker. We're also seeing a Grenadier squad left here just to cover this spot. Clearly they're a bit worried about any sort of sneak attempts. But at least he's been doing quite well in actually preserving his own mortar. Elephants firing away, Panther moving up. Mortar rounds flying from above. And the IS-2 pulling back. Third Guards mechanized corps in trouble versus the Groc Deutschland. And this Sturmpanzer 4 is getting very close to veterancy free. That would really also be bad news, so that's going to increase the damage as well. Sturmpanzer force usually hand out in similar independent battalions like the Elephant Tank Destroyer and the Tiger Tank, known as Sturmpanzerabteilungs.
Eyes on enemy. Commencing attack.
built for clearing out fortified positions. A precursor to them being a Stuke that was modified to they actually looked rather similar to this final version of the Sturmpanzer 4, just not quite as impressive. IS-2 with close to 60 kills, and heavy fire from the Elephants. In fact, it's getting focused down by 2 tank destroyers with those Pak 43 guns mounted in them. That's pretty bad news for the Elephant. I mean the IS-2. And he just needs to get the hell out of there. And a Panzerwerfer! A Panzerwerfer! Left flank is a bit vulnerable, but rather seems like the Soviets are now resorting to the bash the head door in with their head approach. Which is rather to the Germans' advantage considering everything. When in reality they should be flanking them, they just resort to head-on assaults. And another bombing strike! Again, they're not seemingly having very much luck with them. Popping over to Cargos Ignis, who's barely got anything left. Looks like he might be trying at another ISU-152. And looks like the veteran-free mortar finally has ceased to exist. Tragically so. And now the ISU-152 can arrive. Veteran-free Sturmpanzer 4! Hammering its way through the front lines. And a field gun finally being flanked here by the Panzer IV. No, not very well by the looks of it. Not very well at all. IS-2 self-repairing. And there we go, IS-2 being sent. Ooh, Panzerwerfer. Oh, but the Regal mine went off! And it's utterly immobilized the IS-2! Oh! Bollocks is, I believe, the technical term right here. As now it's an easy target for all the Germans. That Regal line definitely paid itself off. In fact, the Panther's just going to flank it. Oh, this is bad news. This is really bad news. And there we go, the IS-2 is a smouldering wreck. Other one moving up, going straight for the Elephant, field gun supporting. Needs to flank it, don't stop up, don't stop up. You do not want to stop up in front of an Elephant tank destroyer. Sturmpanzer 4 firing weight, Panther moving up. Oh no, he keeps stopping up, what is he doing? Oh, he's lost his nerve, he's pulling back. Katyusha's going in. IS-2 needs to keep moving either forwards or backwards. It must not stand still in this fight now. And there we go, other IS Elephant moving up to flank. Field guns doing what they can, but they're too late. They should have been moved up much earlier. And the ISU-152 finally arrives, but that should also have been there earlier. This is really going poorly for the Soviets. IS-2 getting stunned. IS-2 trying to get out of there, but I fear it might be too late. And there we go, the Elephant gets the parting shot. And extremely close to veteran free. At the same time, a Panzer IV arrived and is flanking. Oh, SU-85 in a poor condition. Although we do see the IS-152 opening up on the rear. And that Panzer IV is then going to be an easy target now. But the SU-85 is dead. And another Panzer IV wrecked.
A squad of infantry has been killed.
And the Soviet infantry is pretty much devastated. Parkus Ignis barely has anything. Groc has a squad. They have been utterly sundered, shattered, wrecked, you name it. IS-2 number 4 arriving. That's definitely a lot of IS-2s. More air support. And a storm. Strike there. Nasty work. Elephant moving up the left flank. But this is pretty much GG. Bet 2 on another elephant. Bombing strike actually did something, and there we go, blitzing up the Panther. Panther 4 moving up, close to 70 kills. And there we go, another Veteran T2 Panther. Elephant down to half health, but ultimately did not have a lot of success with the IS-2 there.
We are suffering vehicle losses. Victory is slipping from our grasp.
And that's really it. And there we go. Game over. One hell of an armoured fight. Lots of heavy armour, lots of veteran armour on both sides. I mean, really good armour handling in that regard. The problem, though, tended to come down a bit for tactics on the Soviet side, where they pretty much resorted to a batter-headed approach against things that were rather designed against that, you know, assault guns, tank destroyers, where they really should have been doing their best to flank the positions, and that never quite happened, which ultimately played to the advantage of the Germans when they should have been flanking, or at least using a lot of smoke to get close to them. And that was rather one of the main issues. The other one was the IS-2s were being spread out so thinly they couldn't really get enough focus in when he had that much heavy armour. He should have focused up and tried to bash his way into the flank again, tried to flank the elephant, quickly wrecked it that way. Had he done that, I'm pretty sure the Soviets would have won. Because in that sense, the Germans really was a bit, you know, strategically shallow, with both having gone for the same doctrine. But again, had they focused up their heavy armour, used it a bit more agilely with some support from the other player, I think they would have won. Instead, they rather set themselves up for a battle of attrition. They simply couldn't win because they couldn't, you know, lay down one good strike, which ultimately worked out for the Germans because they could. They actually focused their heavy armour. They focused their armour overall, and of course they also preserved it, allowing to gain veterancy with the Panthers, the Elephant, the Sturmpanzer 4, you name it, although I would have liked to see some better Stug handling from Baumgruppe. I'm a bit disappointed in that regard. Rather heavy infantry losses, but again, the Germans kept up better, partly because they didn't necessarily go for a lot of, you know, very expensive troops all the time. They had a good mix of Grenadiers and Panzer Grenadiers, that is, slightly less expensive troops and more expensive troops, whereas for the Soviets in particular, Pargus Ignis went very heavy on the shock troopers, which rather had a bit of a tendency of biting him in the arse. So in that sense, there were some problems, and ultimately, though, the Germans, though strategically and tactically, dominated in the long run, simply because the Soviet strategy was a bit short-sighted in some regards, but they actually had some more depth. They just couldn't quite fully realize, and all the bombing strikes probably could have been handled a bit better. They tended to miss most of the time. Also, the Soviet players tended to be sometimes, you know, a bit too passive, slowing down, doing nothing when they should have been pressuring the flanks harder and harder. Instead, they didn't, and they allowed the Germans to focus in one spot and just lay down lots of fire that way. So again, the problem was a bit, you know, not punishing the flanks hard enough, not focusing up the heavy armor enough, and some other minor details, plus of course the mistakes with the issues in the sixes. So there you go, one hell of a 2 versus 2. Had quite some rare sights I've not seen in some time, so hope you enjoyed it, hope you learned something or two from it. If you did, want to subscribe, tell your friends. If you didn't, well, why not, and replay of your own. This is Imperial Dane saying cheers.